Building confidence in athletes is one of the hardest things to do. This may be true if you're going at it from the wrong way. Many of us look at confidence as an outcome. Confidence is what you feel after you've achieved something, or it's something that you can begin to feel once you've achieved something. However, we can sort of look at this as a chicken or an egg. Do you accomplish something because you have confidence in your abilities, or do you start to feel confident after you achieve something? Both may be true. We can find ways to feel confident along the way to achieving something, and that's what allows us to achieve that thing. Or you can certainly get a boost of confidence after you achieve something. But if we're going to look at how we help young athletes or athletes in general build confidence, we have to look at it from a process-based perspective. Because if we put all of the power in the outcome to give our athletes confidence, well, we're leaving it up to a 50-50 chance, because there are so many things that could get in the way of our athlete achieving whatever that thing is. So here are some tips to help young athletes, again, or athletes in general, build a sense of confidence in themselves and their ability. And this is how you're going to be able to take things from being really complex and moving away from that conversation that says that confidence is enigmatic, that it's hard to gain and so easy to lose. These 3 tips will really help you hone in on the controllable aspects of building and sustaining confidence. So as a coach, here's how you can help your athletes build confidence. The first is utilizing positive reinforcement often. We need to be able to tell our athletes what they're doing well. Our brain has a natural negativity bias, which means that it's going to focus on all of the negative information around us. This is essentially summed up in the concept that I could do 10 things right and 1 thing wrong and be really upset with my performance. I could get a 95% on an exam and still ask, well, where's the other 5%? Our brain naturally wants to focus on the negative things going on, so it's super important to help athletes learn how to identify the positive things. And this might take us as coaches pointing them out to them. The second is setting achievable goals. This is something that I see lacking in a lot of the athletes that I work with. They set their goals so high for themselves, which is amazing, but if you don't break those big, amazing goals down into smaller stepping stones, it can be really daunting for athletes. They could be working for weeks or months towards getting this thing without ever measuring any progress, and that in and of itself is defeating. So we want to set our athletes up to measure small little goals, break those big goals down into manageable bite-sized pieces that they can then look at and say, okay, have I reached this one yet? If I have, all right, now on to the next. How am I doing? Have I reached it yet? Okay, on to the next. So that they can see what they're doing well, where things are working, where they're not working. So ultimately they can make small adjustments if they need, but they can also celebrate the victories along the way. The third tip is to provide opportunities for success. We want to identify those scenarios, those events that are going to match the athlete's skill set. How can we put them in situations where the athlete gets challenged just enough, but also is in a place where their skill set is up to the task? Where can we find those situations? How can we make sure to get the athlete into those situations so that they can test their skills, be challenged a little bit, but also have a pretty high likelihood of some sort of success? We don't want to throw them into an environment where it's not going to go well, where their skills are not up to that level yet, because it's going to be very defeating, and it's going to take those confidence levels and get them right back down to ground level or even lower. And this isn't a tip, but it's kind of an overall ethos for coaches out there. And that is, if we want to help our athletes build confidence and sustain higher levels of confidence so that we can see that consistent level of play, we have to lead from that 2.0 leadership strategy. We have to be supportive coaches. How can I show up and help my athletes? This is a question that I ask myself every day. I am paid to win hockey games. I understand that. But it's my belief that by showing up and being supportive and helping my athletes, whether that's on the life side of things on the skill development side of things, on the hockey IQ side of things, or on the mental side of the game, my job is to show up and provide support. So how I show up and do that can have a great impact on the athletes that I'm coaching. If I'm constantly providing negative feedback or telling my athletes where it's not good enough, I'm going to foster a pretty crummy environment where athletes are afraid to make mistakes and ultimately confidence levels are low. So the 3 tips: positive reinforcement, fight against that negativity bias that our brain has, help your athletes fight against it by identifying the positive things going on around them. 2, set achievable goals. Help your athletes break those big long-term goals down into smaller bite-sized pieces so that they can measure their growth and progress. Step 3 is provide opportunities for success. Identify situations where your athlete's skill set is up to the challenge so that they can experience a level of success in that environment. And the overarching theme here is be a supportive coach. Ask yourself what you could do to support your athletes and show up in a way that allows them to grow and learn and make mistakes along the way. If you're a coach looking to get into the mental game, or if you're simply looking to improve your leadership skills, DM me below. Let's start talking.